Excited to get started to talk about what makes you, you, building your brand around your story. I'm super excited to be talking today with SanJay Shukla. SanJay is a certified life coach. He's an NLP practitioner, an emotional intelligence coach. He is the founder of Life Architect, where he transforms individuals by empowering them to lead their life with clarity, confidence, and compassion. And SanJay is going to take us through a journey today to really talk about how we discover our authentic selves and discover the story that we want to build our brand around. This really helps us from standing out in the crowd and make real connections with people. So whether you're building your business, you're building your career, this will be helpful to all of us. I know for myself as well. So a little bit of how tonight is going to go for all of you that are here. My request is that you keep yourself on mute. There will be an opportunity at the end of the session to ask your questions. Feel free to ask your questions while we're talking during this next hour in the chat. We will be looking at them. We may answer a few of them, but if not, we'll get to them at the end. And if we, for some reason, aren't able to cover your questions, either me or SanJay will reach out to you personally and make sure your questions get answered. So SanJay, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Hilary. That was really overwhelming. And, you know, the people coming from this energy, right? I told you about so many times. I love being in front of people. And when there's a conversation about knowing about ourselves, there's nothing else which gives me more satisfaction than if I can make any value, if I can add today, if people are more clear than what they were before this session, I'm happy. And
Awesome.
then, wow. Personal brand, right? We have been talking about it. Everybody is talking about it in the current scenario where everybody is just thinking, what should be that next step? How can I get better and, you know, be visible to more people? So yes, looking forward to the next 1 hour. I'm very excited.
Excellent. Well, let's dive right into it. So SanJay, what does it mean to have a personal brand, or why should we be thinking about this?
All right, so this is the question I think we have in mind, right? The personal brand, right? Now, first thing first, I want to clear that what is this personal brand? Because many people are kind of, you know, thinking about in the perspective of the definition, right? But it is more deeper than it is, because while we'll be covering different aspects, we will get to know what I mean with deeper understanding. But if we have to take it as the face value, what is personal brand? It is just the consistent and widely recognized the impression, the perception which people have about you, right? So it goes by the definition as simple as that. But there's one thing which I want to tell people about what I feel about this personal brand. As I said, everything is deep from within what I look at personal brand. The first thing first, personal brand is not an invention. It's a discovery, right? What I mean about it, because the point people get to start looking outside and they get influenced by people. Oh, this person is doing this. It's working very well for them. Let's take this. Oh, this is trending. Let's do that. Okay. This whole thing is good. It's good to be trending, good to be aligned with the trends of all the people who are doing that stuff around you. But you need to understand it's not an invention. It's a discovery. There's something which you need to discover. It's already in there. Right? You just need to bring it forward. Now, second thing, what I feel about personal brand, that, you know, it is not based on what people want to see. Sometimes we just try to take the shape of the way people want us to see, right? It is not what people want us to see. It is what we want to project on them. Okay. It is about the focus, the perception. If it is coming from outside and you are taking in and then behaving the way people are expecting you to be, no, that is not your personal brand. It is inside to outside, that you know that this is what I want to project to the world, and this is how my personal brand would be. And this is my favorite, and I kept it very simple all my life, that personal brand is nothing more or nothing less than what you are in your inner world and what you offer to the outer world. That's it.
That's
There are a
beautiful.
lot of definitions, a lot of things people will come on and saying that all that stuff. But if I have to be very honest and tell you that what is personal brand for me, I think it's about my inner world, what I am inside, and what I'm offering to the outer world, which is outside, which I'm meeting and interacting every day. So this
Yeah.
is me about personal brand.
That is great. And it makes sense because then you're attracting, when you project, who you truly are on the inside to the outside, that's when you attract the right clients. That's when you attract your perfect job, when you're being who you're authentically meant to be and not pretending or trying to fit in some box you think you should be, but really
Yeah.
truly being yourself. That's when everything starts falling into place. So that beautiful and makes so much sense. So what is the role of our story in building our brand? How does that all play together?
Right. So, like the way people look at the personal brand, it is everywhere. People have read about it, explored about it. There's something which is very famous and popular is a story, right? People keep telling about it. I think there's nobody in the room who would deny that there's a need of a good story, right? Now, the story thing, where it fits into the whole perception of the world of creating a personal brand. As I told you, this is a inner world. This is me, and there's outer world where I'm making the contribution, right? Now there has to be a connection between those worlds. Okay, so inner world, what you really are, the genuine self, and the outer world where you're making a contribution. Now
Mhm.
this is the connection point. Now if I tell you what is the best way to connect with people, another human being, I think everybody would accept that it is a story. We are naturally tuned to listening to the stories. We connect with it because there are so many elements to it which as a human we like to be part of. Right. So if it is making sense, people know personal brand is important. They know story is very crucial for that. Where does it fit in? It fits in to make the connection between your inner world and the outer world. And to make that connection, it has got to be a story because this is what we naturally inclined to. We love to hear stories. So I think it makes sense, right? How crucial is story for us in the process of building our own brand?
Yeah. Yeah. And so how do we know what our story is or what story to choose? Because I know a lot of us probably have
Mhm,
tons of different aspects of our life, different stories we can share. Some are more, I know with me, I have some stories that are very personal and I'm like
mhm.
almost afraid to have that vulnerability and to share that. Does that mean it's not the right story for me? Like, yeah, how do we get to know what's our story or even which one we choose out of all these stories we have from our life?
Right. Right. I love this question because now this is getting real, right? Because we all heard all those layers. We were just scratching on the surface. But this is getting real because people get to know about, personal branding is important, story is important. That is fine. Now, when they start implementing, they start looking within, right? And then they start thinking, what is of value to the people? What should be my story? How should I project it? And while we have got some data, there is a noise that, okay, somebody said they were like very poor, and then suddenly something happened in their lives changed, and suddenly they became millionaire or billionaire, they're making change in the world. So what happens is with these noises around, because everybody has their story, and they have been sharing all this while, and some people are ahead in this journey, so they are already getting the limelight. So what happens to us that while we are listening to ourselves, we are tuned to ourselves and getting to know about ourselves, but what happens, we are getting this noise which distracts us, and then we start thinking that should I polish it this way, should I add that element, or should I hide this because nobody's talking about this. Now this is where we get it wrong. And this particular space, I feel, since the day I've been working on my self-awareness, because I have been the part of this whole group where I have been listening to people getting influenced, getting too much of pressure that, everybody is in their journey. Maybe they're ahead of me. They know what they want to do. I am nowhere. I haven't done anything. So I just stormed this whole storm which I was getting in. I just tried to stay calm and worked on so many things, and many of them I can say that didn't work. Okay, I'm very proud of those things that I tried and it did work. But today, you don't have to take that much of hustle and go back and start doing those things, because let me share from my side what worked for me. Because when it gets real, when you start working on your story, this demands you to go within. I'm
Yeah.
telling it with so much of weight on it that it demands you to go within, right? The more you're tuned to yourself, lesser would be the noise of outer world. And here, you don't need that. You need to mute the outer world's noise. This territory is all about you and yourself. You need to get inside, right? Now, when I say that, we have heard about introspection. We also heard a lot about self-awareness, right? So let me get into those territory. The moment we are
I
getting
see.
inside, it's all about the introspection
I
territory.
see.
Now,
You have to post your resume, or you just have to write. Once again, it's like a profile type thing.
all
Sorry.
right, somebody has got some clarity about some work.
Got it. I muted. Sorry about that.
No issues. It happens all the time. Technology is a funny thing,
Yeah.
right? So coming back to the introspection world where we are just tuned to ourselves. Now, two things I advise people, right? The one is self-discovery, and the second thing is self-awareness. Now, even there's a confusion that, okay, what is self-discovery? What is self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me put the focus on self-discovery first.
Okay.
The moment you're tuned inside, you want to know your data. Now, self-discovery is all about finding the data, right? It's about the collection. The process, what we do in self-discovery is called collection, right? Whereas in self-awareness, whatever we do is reflection,
Okay.
right? So the collection and the reflection. Now, if I have to focus on the collection part, what exactly we are doing here? So you need to tune yourself and look at your life story. Whatever is your age, wherever you are in your journey, you go back and put and start collecting all the data about your incidents, your moments, your biggest fear, your biggest likes, dislikes, the incidents, the old memories where you felt so happy, the old memories where you were stuck and how you came out of it. Now, all this data is available to you. Nobody else can give it to you, right? You have it. And now there is one thing, when people do this, they face this challenge so often that, okay, what to pick, what to lose, what to, give it away, what to hide. So all that filtering process, I would just say there is only one filtering criteria. First, if you still remember that, it is important to you.
Right.
I'll repeat myself. If it is important to you, if you still remember it, it is important to you. If it is important to you, that's it. We don't need any validation from anybody else, because what happens, we have like 1,000 times more data which we have been receiving in our life, maybe a million times, but we still remember only few things, right? We
Yeah.
don't remember so many things in our life because that was not important, right?
Yeah.
So if you go back, you tune into yourself, you go back to your life and start collecting those memories and datas about your incidents, everything what you could remember, bring it on the table and don't filter anything out, because if you still remember it, high chances that it is important. There's some meaning out of it, right? Now, once you have done this self-discovery, all the data is on the table. Now come to the self-awareness part. As I said, it is the place where we do reflection. Now, what reflection means and what we are trying to achieve with this is the data which we have collected. Now, we want to see the patterns in them. Okay. Now, we are trying to make stories out of it, the kind of knowledge, the kind of exploration about ourselves. Let's say, if I have to give example, let's say if I had seen myself whenever there is under pressure, okay, I break down. If I see there's always, whenever there was pressure, it's a natural tendency that I was breaking down. But there was one incident I saw that I was feeling so powerful that I could defy all the challenges. I could do something which I thought it was unbelievable. Now that data is important. If you see, there are some other evidences or other incidences where I have done the same. Now I'm seeing the pattern here. Then I went back and started exploring other data around that particular incident. And I realized, and this is my real story, by the way, because I have been, I think, the most part of my life, very low confident and shy guy. I always had questions about me. Am I enough? Am I enough? Right? I couldn't even be able to speak. But this particular data made me think that how come I behave differently in those incidents? there was one thing. I could never see my people down. If they are expecting out of me that I should conquer this challenge, I do it. And this is what was pushing me all this while. So I picked it up that this is my gem, right? Because if there was a situation where I thought I could never do it, I was able to do it because there was somebody who was expecting something from me. I can never let my people down. And then I found this is one pattern. So you got my point, right? So
Yeah.
you do self-discovery, go back and pick up all the data what you have. Don't filter anything. If you remember it, use it is important for you. And then reflect on it. You'll find a lot of patterns. And then start noting down all the patterns yourself. You don't need anybody. Probably for the framework or the way it is designed step by step, or probably to cut down the noise, you need somebody, right? But you have all the data. You know what it is. And while you're making a pattern out of it, right, you just need to focus that ultimately people do it all the time. I just keep telling on their face and I meet them that, you know what, you don't have to make sense out of it from the perspective of others. If it makes sense to you, that is the ultimate truth.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And
That is the
SanJay,
ultimate truth.
so I guess my question is, when you're doing, like, gathering this data and kind of really doing the discovery of, all our stories, all our memories, how much time do you put into this? Is this like a one-day thing where you take a day and reflect? Is it something that you recommend people do over time? Does it depend? I know with me, sometimes I like to sleep on things. So I can imagine, like, when I'm really looking at, okay, how am I gonna build my personal brand? What's the story, the patterns, right? If I'm starting this first process, which is the kind of really discovering, how much time could I take, and when's too much time? Because I could also see me myself as well, where I just like kind of get stuck in this like data collection and then maybe not go into the analysis part of it. So what do you recommend for someone who wants to get started and really kind of start discovering themselves and being aware of themselves?
Good one, because it's a very practical question. The person who has spent some time doing it, they will definitely have this. I faced it. Everybody who has done this introspection or self-awareness journey, they definitely have felt it. That, am I doing it too much? Or am I just not doing right? Or am I just doing too little? What amount of this? So to answer this, I'll just rest it to very much in a very calm state by saying that there are two things, two lines. The first is, you will never be able to get the complete clarity. Okay, so let's reduce the burden off your shoulders. That, okay, fine. Okay, fine. All right. The second thing is, how long we need to wait to get started? Zero. We need to get started right now. You don't have any time. So one thing says, you don't put yourself into pressure that, I have to get so much clarity. This is me. Oh, yes, this is my story. Now I can get started and start building my personal brand journey. No, that will always be keep on refining. Okay, you'll keep getting more and more clarity. You don't have to wait on it. So first, to reduce the pressure, and the second is that you don't have to wait. That, okay, some people say, should I go first and do this self-exploration, self-discovery, self-awareness? Once I get to a point, then I start my personal branding journey. I would say no. Okay, so if I had to just give from my example, I spent 12 years in IT. Okay, I was the cloud architect. I loved helping my clients to find their IT solutions. So while I was doing that, I loved that thing to its core. Okay, and when I started my career, I thought I'm making a world a better place by doing those programming and coding stuff. So that time, that was my clarity, and I was able to do everything. I succeeded. Then I got some more clarity. Oh, probably it is a very distant thing. I want to get more closure to my client so that I can see their expression. So the whole circle of me putting efforts and they realizing the change and happiness is going to complete. Then I started giving IT solutions. Then I realized, no, probably I have the better understanding about life than machines, about human than machines. Then why I'm just giving IT solutions? Rather, I should give life solutions, right? So if I would have been waited to get this clarity, okay, and I'm not stopping at here. Even when I started my own company as a life coach, many people have been asking that, okay, what's your niche, where you're going to work, what exact people are going to work? I said, whatever clarity I have, I'm just going to get started. I will get more and more clarity along the way. Right? So I hope that answered your question that, what amount of time, I think probably you don't have to wait for it. And can you get 100% clarity? Probably never. So keep getting this process in your life. It has to be a routine. It has to be a part of your life. You have to keep doing it. Reflection is a very natural process. It happens automatically, right? If you spend time, you get data automatically about you. Reflection is a natural thing. So keep doing this thing whenever you get chance.
That's great. I think I talk about that a lot when I'm talking to people, coaches, people who are building their business, or, trying to discover that ideal client. And it's the journey. It's a continuing process that you do. So it's not like you do it once and, oh, I'm done. I'm self-discovered. I'm aware. And here's my brand in a box, complete. Now I don't have to look at it for 20 years. So it's a continuing process that you build as you're adding on to your personal brand. And it makes sense, right? Because if we're all active in life, we all continue to do things. It's not like we're stuck at this point in time forever. And so I can see it changing and altering too. So that's great. So it's kind of
True.
Exactly more of a journey than just okay, done, complete. Now we don't need to worry about it anymore. That's great.
No, you rightly said, because when the moment we start putting things this way, that I'm done, okay, I got discovered myself, this is gonna be my life purpose, because you would have heard this thing, right? The purpose of life. So the moment people start getting into this journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, they want to know their life purpose, right? And I think people are killing themselves to finding their purpose. And by saying that, I'm just putting the pressure off them, that this process can't be tiring. This process, it's fun. This process is all about enjoying what you are. So only people are finding it tiring, and they are getting too much, overwhelmed when they think about their life purpose, for two reasons. One, they're looking at outside. Still, they are tuned to the outer world and thinking, oh, that person got it. Oh, that person got it. Oh, that person also got it, right? But the moment you're tuned inside, still you are thinking that, okay, I should get the clarity. And then after 1 week or 2 week or 1 month or a year, you think, no, probably this is not it. Oh, I wasted my year. No, it never happens. You're not wasting anything. As I said, 12 years I did in my job. I probably would have said to my father that, why you forced me to start with this IT job? I wanted to work with human. I told you, right? You wasted my 12 years. But I didn't have this discussion, because I told him I was happy all the way, because whatever clarity I had that time, I was giving my best. And today I got better clarity, and I'm very sure in coming years, I will get more clarity, and then my purpose will also get narrowed down, get completely fine-tuned, right? So whatever clarity you have, just get going. I think this is the way forward.
That's beautiful. So as you start recognizing these patterns, then because patterns aren't stories, right? Patterns are patterns. So then where do I go from here? So I have, kind of the idea, my discovery of my life and what it's looked at. I'm starting to see some patterns in my life. And then now what?
Exactly. This is the stage we reach once we, as you said, right? We went inside, got this whole stuff going, and then we got some clarity, some patterns. Now, what next, right? This is the natural next step which we ask about it. Now that I've got so much data in front of me, this is me, right? And I'm now assuming that you have done it very nicely, okay? That and if I have to tell what is right or wrong, first of all, we don't think that there is right or wrong. That word has been so misused or abused.
Yeah.
Thing is, if you feel it is right, it is right. That's it, right? There's nothing like absolute truth, right? There's a versions of it floating around, right? So now when you got the data, okay, then you got the pattern, and now this pattern, let's say one of the patterns says, I'll take my example, I'll continue on that I found that, okay, maybe I'm not that confident, or maybe I'm a bit afraid, or that kind of guy, but if I am having my people around me and they are expecting me to get this thing done, I become something else. I can't let them down. So I just give something which makes me do wonders, right? Now, this is the pattern I realized, okay? Now, similar to this, there will be so many patterns you will realize that, okay, whenever I'm in front of nature, I am like completely different person, okay? And there's something like, okay, whenever I'm working with machines, I'm not that good. I hate it. Okay. I need this human interaction. Right? Some people love to talk. Some people want to sit in isolation in their room, closed, and they focus. They create wonderful things, right? Now you are getting these patterns. Now, when it comes to, let's say you have done this step well, and now you get some 5, 10, 15, or 20, patterns in front of you. And what it is telling you, these patterns are telling you about you. Okay. What basically about you? On the surface, you always knew who you are, your name, your identity, your role, title, all that thing, right? Your roles, basically, you are a father, you are a brother, all that thing you would know. Now, the deeper one will get explored, that these are my values, my core values. This is what defines me. This is what, helps me to make my decisions. These are my priorities. These are my belief system, right? That's my mindset. That's my likes. That's my dislikes, that cheers me up, that seriously spoils my mood, right? So when you're getting this thing, these are the things which helps you to design your life. Okay. Now once you reach here, now even I'll get into the detail in the coming section where I'll be talking about the framework, but just to get it, that in the continuation of this, where you're understanding about your life and everything, because the moment you start thinking about story, why you want to create a story around it, because you want to have a connection with someone, right? We're still very much inside us. We haven't come out. Okay. We're still exploring. We got patterns. We understood this is my life and I'm very happy with it. The story comes when the connection starts to happen. So few factors, there will be a lot of factors, but just to understand sometime with whom you are connecting, that plays a big role. How much time you have. I can spend a day with you and I can tell you about my story. No pressure. I don't have to be very precise and very impactful 2 lines I have to say, right? Because I have the luxury of time, right? And some people would be very much judging, because there are platforms where people will be judging. Let's say if I'm on the stage talking to people, this is a natural tendency, people will judge you, right? And somewhere, let's say in my family, my father, mother, all the people, when they listen to me, my daughter, she never judges. She has whole time of the world, right? She can listen to me on and on, right? So what I'm telling you is I explored about myself. I know who I am, right? And then the moment it comes to the connection, who am I talking with, what time I have, right? These are the factors. But now let's say you have understood. Now you're coming to the front. I'm just taking one example, but I'll come in detail when I talk about the framework, how to create that story, right? Now, what exactly is story? Story, why we all like it, because there's a context, first of all, right? So it was 10 p.m. in the night, it was windy, it was raining, something. So people start being there. They are with you mentally, right? Setting the context is one thing. Now, second thing is your characters. Okay. So when you're talking about you have already got the data about the important people in your life, right? Maybe your friends, your parents, your family, whoever, right? Or some mentor or some person who change your life by saying something special, right? So what happens? You got the context, you got the right set of people, and then of course you are the protagonist in your story, so you behave like one. Okay, you are the hero. You can't start your story and tell about somebody else and then you forget about yourself. You are going to be the center of it. Now the third one, the last one, where you need to give the message, right? So it's like a build up, the first one, and then the message comes. So this process, if we have, let's say 2 minutes, or let's say I have 1 minute, I will still follow the same process. Or if I have like full day or a month to spend with someone to tell my story, then still I will be taking the same route. Okay. So what makes your story important, or the great connection point, is when it is authentic and when it is consistent. But for you to answer at this point, what happens, that you got the data, you got the pattern, now you understood what makes you you. You are this person. And now if you have to create a story, get the context, get the characters, important ones, keep yourself in the focus, and then the message. In your life, whatever patterns you got, you would know how to connect the dots. It's all about connecting the dots, because data is everywhere. The pattern already visible to you, right? You know what has to be the message. Let's say if I have to say, let's say if I continue with that I can never let my people down. Okay. My people, the people who expect from me. This is my main force, main power. This is driving me all the time. So at the end, my message would be something like that, you know what, whatever I do to make my people happy, and the moment I see smile in their face, I'm done. I'm like, oh my God, this is the life I wanted to live. Okay. Maybe this is the message. Okay. There's 2 lines. So if somebody would just give me 2 minutes, I would still end up at this line by giving a context. I've seen all the hardships. I've started from very low bottom, came till this point all the way. There are few mentors and my parents, especially my brother and my special wife, helped me to become what I am today. And for today, what matters to me is to make my people happy by doing whatever it can. And the moment I see happiness in their face, I'm done. I'm happy. This is my life. So it just 2 lines, a 2-minute thing, or 1 minute, or maybe 30 seconds, right? But if I get the full chance, probably my context will be more greener. I can paint the pictures, right? Where I started, where all I've been, all those people, I can explain a bit more about them, my wife, how we met, how we, started the conversation, my mentors, what they have done, right? So you got my point, right?
Yeah.
Patterns, your data, and then just get the context, get those people around. You are the center of the story, and get your message across.
So I have another question for you, because I know for myself, I'm very happy with who I am. And I know there's some patterns in there I'm either not proud of, or I'm embarrassed by, or I don't know if I'd even want to share. And so as we're like, what do we do? Do we include these patterns? I mean, obviously we want to be aware of them, and maybe it's the battle of overcoming them. I'm like, that this is why I love self-reflection and self-growth. Self-growth is because as you become aware of them, maybe it's like, oh, I don't really, that's not a very nice pattern. Ooh, ouch. Maybe I don't want to leave people feeling that way. And it's still a part of, being human. I think all of us probably have patterns like that. What do we do with those type of patterns that maybe don't leave us feeling as good? And I can even imagine sometimes, the human brain is just built to look at the negative. It's just, this is why gratitude journals work so well, because as you train your brain to have gratitude, your brain becomes more positive. So if you don't have that training, if you haven't been, kind of focusing on the positive, and you tend to slide more towards more negative, you may look at these patterns and you may have more that you dislike than you like. What do we do with those as we're kind of building this journey of ours?
Lovely. This is getting now very intense, because you speak about it. Many people have shared the same thing, that, you know what, there are patterns which I'm not comfortable sharing with people. I know it's core to my story, but how should I say it? It makes me vulnerable. It makes me look lesser than what I want to project. And then there are some things I probably think it won't matter. Why should I tell it anyway? Right? So when the people get stuck in this, I just tell them one single thing. You're thinking about others. Okay? You're thinking about others. So what I said then, what makes you, when we say this, it is important for you to be in your own territory first. Okay? You explode when you, as I told you, right, that once you're tuned in, you're not letting any external noise coming to you. Okay. So all these things that, it won't make sense. People won't like it. It will make me vulnerable. People might, think that I'm this. People might think that. So first of all,
what if
there's
I
an
don't
intervention.
like it though? What if I don't?
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, because the second aspect of it, because first thing is, it is coming from that perspective. Now, second, what I told you, that if it is important to you, okay, if you still remember it is important to you, this is first. Okay. So I'm saying everything. Let's say I had an incident, very embarrassing event. Okay. I don't, I still remember it, but not for the good reason. Okay. Do I need to tell that? Probably not. So as I said, when you are compiling your story, the ultimate message is clear. Do this fit in? Because I had a lot of failures to share, but in my story, anywhere am I giving the reflection? But sometime for the build up, there are two examples. As I said, there are embarrassing moments I'm not covering at all, right? I still remember it for wrong reasons. I haven't have any use in my message or story. I didn't use it, but there will be, that doesn't mean that you have to ignore or filter out all the negative ones or the bad ones or the embarrassing ones. Like for the biggest one, which I think I have used in so many stages, that once I was on the stage in front of my juniors in school, that was our farewell. We are passing out from the school. I was favorite. They loved me like anything. I can tell you that. Okay. They were like some rounds where we have to go on stage and do something. Last round, I had to speak something in English. I was not at all good in English. I was like pathetic in that. And I just froze. And they were just begging. I could see from their eyes, they were like, just say one word and Mr. Farewell Award is yours. You are our favorite senior. I just let them down. That completely destroyed my confidence. That one line I couldn't speak in English. And that, why I keep telling about this, because now I speak in front of thousands of people. And I remember that day, because that day I let my people down. That connects to with my story, right? Because that was embarrassing, most embarrassing moment, I can say that, right? But this changed everything, because that amount of energy which I got, though it was negative, I converted into positive and made it this big. So coming back to your question, there will be a lot of embarrassing or bad moments, so probably you don't want to use it, right? If you still remember it, just think, what is the pattern? Why you still remember it, right? And the second one, which I said, if it makes sense to you, it is ultimate truth. So when I say that your judgment says, I don't want to share it, then it is the ultimate truth. You have no compulsion. You don't have to go out there and share. Okay, because if you're not comfortable, doesn't matter how much some personal branding or the champions will talk to you and experts will polish you to just be out there and speak, it will not fall in the right place. It will never hit the chord. People will never get connected with you because you're not comfortable with yourself, right? So this is what I tell people: focus on yourself. I know that it is hardly impossible to just mute all the noises. You will get it, but you are the one who is in charge. You decide what to tell, what not to tell, right? And the moment it makes sense to you, like I tell a lot of stories about my vulnerability, that I have been going through this and that and all those things. Why I'm comfortable sharing this? The moment I heard this from one of my mentor, that what, people don't want to see how great you are. People want to see how much I can relate with this person,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
I was just sharing that, this is what I achieved. I did this, I did that, and all that stuff. And I was hiding my pain and emotion and failures and everything. Then I realized, yes, people don't want to see that, because if, let's say, I am in my journey, I am struggling so many other journey, but in this journey, if I am this far, there are people stuck there who are going through that storm. So if I tell them, I have been there, this is what I used to feel like genuinely, they will connect. Oh, this guy knows about my pain. So it's embarrassing or negative emotions or bad moments of my life, but still I want to put it out there. So who is in charge? You are in charge. If you feel it's right, you don't need any validation. You don't need any expert to tell you that you should include it or not include it.
That's great. And as you're speaking this, I have to say, when I share my embarrassing moments, so I'm part of a coaching group for people with children, because surprise, being a parent is extremely hard. And when I share I was having a really hard week and I just wasn't liking who I was being. And when I was sharing that vulnerability with the group, everyone had been in that place at one time or another. And our connection became deeper, because it wasn't talking about, a lot of times with parenting, it's especially on social, you just get the perfectness of it. Like, oh, these kids are perfect, they're beautiful. I want to create a social media account that just shows the realness of being a parent. But because I was vulnerable and just honest with what was going on, the connection was deeper. So I see the value of having these vulnerable moments. And I like what you said, you're in control. So it's like, I can choose. If there's one that I don't want to share, then don't share it. But there is some value of not sharing. Like people don't want to hear how great you are. They want to hear that you're a human being like they are. And that's how you build that connection, right?
Glad you said this last line, right? You're human. This is what you need to be in front of people. You just need to be human. And there's one thing, if I can add, every time when I get into the conversation, people ask me about, okay, let's say if we are talking about how to, build our personal brand on LinkedIn or the Instagram or Facebook, any of those platforms, right? I keep telling them one single thing. Remember this thing and always know that whoever is at the receiving end is a human.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what platform. Are you talking in front of them straight face to face, or are you talking in front of chatting or the call or via your post, stories, reels, TikToks, whatever? At the end, whatever medium it will travel to, it will reach to a human being. So it's a human to human conversation. It's not complex. Okay, there are a lot of algorithms in between, which makes it very funny at times, right? So, but at the end, it. You just play this algorithm game, but you always remember this, that it's a human to human interaction after all. That makes it very simple.
That's great. That's great. And then earlier, SanJay, you were talking about a framework to build the story in this patterns. Will you tell us more about your framework and how we can kind of start building our stories for when we are talking with people?
Sure, I can do that. And there's one element which I normally tell people upfront, that all the work which I'll be doing and all the work which I'll be talking about, there's always at the end, there's a practical step-by-step thing. Otherwise, because I have been there in the journey, right? I can be one among you and say, I have heard a lot of knowledge. It's everywhere. People are coming up with so much of stuff, and the internet is full of that. I have been there. I was like, felt, I was getting choked by that, so much of knowledge. And the more and more knowledge I get without the knowledge of how to implement it, right?
Yeah.
Without the clarity of how I can put it into practice, and not that, the finding the purpose of life. For me, it is important. What is my next step? What exactly I need to do just after logging off from this meeting or session, right? So this is where I focus, because I have been there. I felt the pain. So whatever I'll be telling, I will be telling something which you can just disconnect from this call, go back and start implementing it. Okay, great. So with that thought, let me share my screen so that people can also have a luxury to visualize a bit when I speak. Okay. So I hope it is in front of you all.
Yeah, great.
Okay. All right. Right. So let me just get into that. Okay. See, right. So these are exact thing which I was telling you about. It doesn't matter. People tell me that, the human brain is complex. I tell them it is still having some patterns, which you can understand. Technology has no patterns. So I was clicking 3 times to go to the next slide. It was not going. So funny. Right. So now this is the framework. I call it 3C framework, which I have designed for this personal branding thing. Okay. And now what is the first one? Clarity. Okay. We discussed about it. And of course, we'll go in detail after this, but I just want to put it in front of you first, that what are these three C's? Okay. The first is clarity. The second is connection. Okay. And the third is contribution. Clarity is everything about you, your inner world, what you are, what makes you, you, right? Connection is in between your inner world and the outer world, okay? And the contribution is everything about what you offer to this world. Because personal branding can't be just about you. You are getting your name and fame because the moment people look at you, right? They're looking at you for something. They're expecting something for something, right? Whatever you have projected via your connection, this is where they come to you, and then you make contribution to them, right? So when you do these three, it ultimately results into your personal brand. So if I have to go in detail, now clarity is that aspect where I spoke about, that where you need to go deep within, introspect, and come up with those first by doing the self-discovery. I didn't think much about using those dots, but let me tell you, I still see that those darker circles might be those intense ones. Those lighter ones are like the light, funny ones. And the bigger is the biggest, the most refreshed ones in our memory. When we go to self-discovery, we get these kind of memories or incidents like that. They're lying everywhere. When we close our eyes, we start getting connected to that. We will pick up those incidents and we can just lay out on the table, and here it is, all the data in front of you by doing this self-discovery process. And then the bottom ones, this is where the things started getting patterned. We have filtered out some, we have got some, we have taken the important ones, the big ones in front of us, because this is what is important for us. And self-awareness is all about reflection. Okay, you reflect on your data, you reflect on your memories, you reflect on your people, whatever interactions you had. Now this we have already explained, so this is clear for you, that this clarity at the end gives you the complete knowledge of what makes you you, right? Now the second part, now the moment you get into this connection phase, you are actually start approaching the outer world. Okay, now the moment you start looking in front of the people, there is one thing, everything you do, like a normal conversation or a presentation or a show or anything you put on display, any act of expression is required to get this connection built. And what I mean by this act, ACT, so it's authentic, consistent, helps you build the trust. And this is something I can tell you about human brain. It doesn't matter how much fascinated or impressed or happy we are about certain thing, but nothing beats that, the intensity of that emotion called fear, the survival instinct, you know what, if we are not feeling safe, nothing else works in our mind, right? Our logical brain shuts off. So you don't tell me that, okay, whatever I do, I just give so much value to people that they are going to come to me. No. If you will not make them trustworthy, if you are not trustworthy and you will not make them comfortable or safe in your presence, forget about any other thing which you have in your store after that, right? So when I say that, now, the moment you have kept this authenticity and consistency intact, this will result to the trust you will get from the people. Then once this connection is established, then you can showcase what you have to offer. Right? But this is required for getting the connection done. Now, there are two elements in connection which I always love. The first is the self-expression. What do I mean by self-expression? Now, there's one thing you would have heard many times, and let me put it very simplistic way. I encourage people, and I encourage everyone who is listening to me here, that always try to express, not impress. Whatever act you are doing, if you're speaking with people, try to express, not impress. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Because let's say you have done the self-discovery process. You have got so much of incidents, memories. Now you got the patterns in that it happened that, every time that we were put in a pressure situation and I was with another people, everybody was afraid, not afraid, and I was afraid. So in that process, if I want to impress others, what I'll do, I say, oh, I'm not afraid, right? But the thing is, if you are genuine and you're listening to yourself, you know that you're afraid. So rather than impressing anybody and wasting any time to just be compliant to everyone's expectation, rather just put your focus on getting expressed. So tell when you feel fear, tell, you express, right? Because this is going to contribute to your authenticity. Just imagine what would this authenticity would look like if you are not expressing yourself and you're just trying to impress others, where you're pretending to be something which will be like in compliance with other people's expectations, right? So the first thumb rule of getting this authenticity done, you need to get into this self-expression mode where you are doing everything to just express and not impress. Okay. Now the second part, where exactly I think you are getting into that, how to package this story, like this one-liner or this just two-minute thing, and then everybody will be like, oh my God, this is impressive, right? I like this person. So this is the packaging part. Now let's say self-expression is not enough. If you are having this authentic expression and you're consistent as well, you are continuously doing it every day, because what happens is, there's like 99 times you have been behaving in a certain way, and one time you just faked it or you just did it, which is not true to yourself. It creates a doubt. People get confused, right? Even if you do it 1% wrong, people get a confusion, a doubt on your personality, and it affects, it's like a balloon of trust gets a pin, boom, you're done, right? So this is how important it is. So sometimes people say, how consistent I need to be. I like, sometime I am like this, sometime I'm like this. I said consistent means consistent. You have to be exactly the same all the time. So just get into the expression mode. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever the way you're feeling, just keep expressing. Okay. Now, if I get into this expression mode, what do I mean by self-packaging? So you remember when I told that, sometimes you'll get 1 minute or 30 seconds or 2 minutes, or, a platform requires just 30 seconds you have got in your Insta Reels, right? So when the situation comes, this is when it becomes so crucial and important to make it precise and yet impactful. So this is what I mean when I say self-packaging. So you should know what should go to the people. As I told my story, I just covered ta, 3-step, 4-step, message done, right? So still it makes the complete sense, right? Now, self-packaging is even more important in today's era because there's so little concentration span of our people.
Yeah.
Because as I told you, the noise is everywhere, right? People are everywhere. They are getting to see people everywhere. So many people, they're telling their stories, they're developing their brand, right? So what happens is if you are not packaging it well, you will miss this. You are a wonderful person. We know that you are authentic, you are consistent, but the amount of focus you got from other people, you missed it because you are not precise or impactful. You haven't packaged it as per the needs of the other person. So that is required to get that connection done. Right now, I'm just going to a certain level of depth. So just to make the sense out of it, but probably if somebody has any questions, I can answer it towards the end, but I'm just restricting myself to not go too deep because we just got 1 hour to cover everything, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now this is the third one, the contribution. This is the fun part. I love this one. Now the contribution is all about what you have got to offer to this world, what change you're bringing, how you're making this world a different place to be, right? Now there are two things. One is gift and one is USP. Okay, I put it as a very practical or business words here because I tend to go always a bit in emotional side and talking about psychology, talking about all those things, because once we get to know about it, everything is aligned. But for the simplicity, now that we are not in inner world anymore, we got the connection. Now we are facing the outer world, right? So I'm going to talk the language which outer world would understand. Okay. Now this gift, okay, I put it as gift because I love this word. The other word for this is the purpose or the passion, right? People keep using this and it makes people feel so heavy. Okay. So unless it is required to put this much of weight, I would say don't use that word. I would just make it a very simple. A kid would understand a gift. So what I mean, what do you mean? What do I mean by what is gift? So every one of us is born with talents, potential, maybe in raw form or something is getting completed with over the period of time, wherever we are focusing, but we need to admit it. And it's a fact. There's no arguable discussion on this that some would agree, some would not. Everybody has got a set of potentials and talents in everyone, right? Now, when I say you need to find your gift, it is like this. Whatever I know that I am good at, or whatever, is my passion, or, I love doing it, I'm good at it. You need to make the list and set it up that what is the best thing, the best gift I have. Okay. So let's say mine is that I realized over the period of time that whatever complex problem you throw at me, I always make sense out of it and make it simple when I explain people. Okay, so this is one of my passion project where I'm learning the human brain, and I know that it's going to take ages, but I want to make it so simple by the form of some comic stories or nice fun thing where brain and heart are like having conversations, right? Just to put everything out there what science has to tell, but in a very nice comical or story way. Okay, but now this is my gift. What happens, I'll tell you, when people start getting to know about their gift, their passion, their purpose, what they're good at, again, this external noise makes them feel, let's say, if I have to tell myself, I was young, I was very good in playing cricket. I was very mad about that sports. The moment I used to tell people that, what, if somebody will ask me, what is your gift? I would say I'm a great, cricketer. And then the next thing people will be saying that, oh, there are so many who are better than you. And then that narrative has taken space in my mind. Everything I do, let's say if I love to sing, but the second moment I think that, oh, there are so many people who are better in singing. Oh, there are so many people who are better in dancing. So every gift when I touch, I feel that there's somebody else who is doing it better than me, right? So what perception people generally have about gift, that talent which we have, which is better than most of others in the world. I want to break this myth right now, right here, that no, it's not the competition between you and the world. It's just you. You need to look within yourself and list out all the talents. And in that talent, what is your best thing? And that is what you should probably offer to the world, right?
Yeah.
And there's one thing that people will sometimes say that, I used to get this word that, there's so many good, better cricketers in the world, right? I used to tell them, the moment they got to know what is their gift, it's highly impossible that you will not focus there in your gift. The moment I realized that I love cricket, every day I wanted to play cricket, isn't it? Everybody has this thing. Let's say tomorrow you figure it out, some new talent in you or something which you love to do, you can't take your focus away from them, right? And second fact of life, that wherever you focus, it grows. Correct? So
Yeah.
maybe some people, whoever is better than me, they have identified this gift earlier than me, and then they focused on it, they became better than me, right? So it's not about the fight that I became life coach at 33 and somebody became at 21 or 44. It doesn't matter. The day you realize your gift, start building on it, and then take it to a level where you can start offering to people and start making the difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
I would add to that, Sanjay, is that we're all unique and different. So maybe someone is better at something than you, but it doesn't mean they can deliver it to the same people that you could connect with. They may not have the connection to the same group of people that you have the connection to. They may not have
Wow.
the similar abilities. So maybe top cricket stars maybe won't be able to teach cricket to young kids who will next be the top stars, because they're missing that skill piece to it. So it's so easy to compare ourselves to each other,
Right.
but we're all unique individuals, and it's that uniqueness that really can bring about sharing that gift that other people, even if they are better than you are in the gift, will not be able to deliver it to the way you will, or to who you will be able to deliver it to. I think that's a key
Fantastic.
component as well.
Excellent. And I'm thankful to you because you just saved my time, because this is exactly I mean by USP. I will not go into detail. You saved my time, because I'll just repeat what you said for other people, that USP. Now that you got your gift, what is USP? Is your unique selling point. And exactly what you said. And this is a fact. It's again not an arguable thing. Every human being is unique, right? And that the science proves it, because the way you have seen the world, the experiences you had, the kind of knowledge you had, the exposure you have, everything makes you a very unique personality. So the way you are looking at this world, nobody else can look at the same way, right? So why in the world of when we have already Tony Robbins, and then the Jay Shetty, and then Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, so many other people, but they're different people attracts different tribe. Some people, if they love motivation, some people like Tony Robbins, some people like maybe Jay Shetty. Why it is happening? Because they have got something unique in them. And this is what is connecting with that kind of people. So whoever is waiting, I'm just talking to the people who are in the process of building their personal brand. I'm telling you, get the clarity first. Okay. Once you get the clarity, get your focus in getting this connection done in the form of story. Okay. Everything has to be done to just express what you are, and you will find your tribe, you will find your people, because you really have got the gift. There's no question about it. Whoever is questioning is just shut them off, because this is not the fact is you have got the gift, and you have something unique to give to this world. Because I had this question myself, that there's so many life coaches out there, what different I'm bringing to the people. And this is when I realized the way I have looked at this world, the way I have lived my life, nobody has done it for sure, right? So I have something unique. That is why it is important to go out there and offer to these people. right? Maybe as an individual or as an employee or as a businessman or as a product owner, anything, doesn't matter who you are, wherever you're living. If you are living in the planet where you have people around you, you need to and you must build your personal brand. And this is how you need to do it, right? So I think this is all I wanted to share. I love going deeper, but for the sake of the time, I just wanted to be on the surface. I hope it made sense and I didn't rush to the things. And yeah, this is it from my side.
Beautiful, Sanjay. Well, I know we're at the end of our time, but I wanted to ask you, do you have time, like 10 minutes to stick around for questions for people who have questions?
Oh, would love to. And even if we couldn't push for that long, I would love to answer it afterwards as well.
Perfect. Well, for everyone else, if you have to go, thank you so much for being here. I do want to mention that Sanjay has a group course coming up on Introwise that actually talks about creating your brand story. So I'm going to drop a link. Sanjay, can you tell us more about what this 90-minute group course is going to look like, this group session?
All right. So this, as I said, the knowledge is knowledge. Okay. I'm not a big fan of just sharing knowledge. Okay. I want when we get our hands dirty, we get into this, when we are working together and creating our story. So when I came up with this, it's just 9 people. Okay. What we do, what we 10 people do. And I'm not like sitting at the higher chair and people are like we all are sitting in one chair, 10 people. We start from the clarity. We go in connection, we come to this contribution, we dive in deep, and it's just not about a standard template or standard knowledge. We go into the personalized way of doing things, right? I have been doing it with one-on-one with so many people. That's the fun part. People can be like feel so open. They can just tell me each and everything about it. They can keep putting data. Okay, you imagine that self-discovery thing, right? Keep putting data, everything. They enjoy it. Then I help them with finding the pattern and everything. Now, why I'm doing it with the group of people? Because in past I've seen the results have been far better when we have done it together. Because as I said, SanJay Shukla as alone, I'm also having one single unique perspective, right? But all other people, they're seeing it from different ways, right? So when one person is on the focus, all these 9 people are actually giving their unique perspective at their story, at their uniqueness. And then whatever comes out in that session, in that workshop, that everybody gets better in their understanding. They have a very good connection points. They can, wherever they go, they just connect with people and then they start making the contribution. And this is what, if they do consistently, they're going to be a personal brand.
That is great. So this is on Saturday. It's the same time that this webinar started. And yes, there is only 9 spots available. So if you're interested in joining, it's only $9, which I tried to convince him to raise his price. I think I'm going to have to jump in at the $9. So definitely get in. If you find that the spots are not available and you want to join, you can reach out to Sanjay or me. We will figure something out. Maybe we'll do another session. And Sanjay, I'm also just going to share your Introwise page as well. If anyone wants to work with Sanjay, he does business coaching, life coaching. He has a free discovery call. So if you want to connect with him and find out more what it's like to work with him, please do on Introwise. So thank you so much. So for everyone who has to go, we understand you have to go. And then otherwise, let's stick around for questions. I know we had some questions come in, and one I wanted to cover. Let me see if I can find it again. I lose it. I see. Here, how does one maintain consistency in the wake of the emerging clarity with ongoing reflective journey? This is great. So you talked about being consistent, but at the same time, this is also an ongoing journey that's changing and evolving. So what do we do about all that?
Have you heard of this something called moving target? Okay, some people are not very much, comfortable with this concept of moving target. Okay, so they have certain thing to achieve and then just go and finish it, and it's just not there problem. The people, the way our society is there, right? We always have this, okay, this is the standard, go to school, finish this, get this degree, get this job. So everything is like very much fixed. Okay. In life, okay, in reality, if you know that what is this moving target, so it's still a target. It's not that, okay, I made a target, I skipped it. Okay. It is still a target. You need to keep going it. But the moment you are approaching there, because time is changing, right? If I have to tell that, what I planned 2 years back before COVID, now this pandemic has changed everything drastically. I would have been, and many people would have been, the clients with whom I'm talking to, they are like very much scattered, and they are like, they don't know how to just deal with it. Why? Because they had certain target and now they're feeling the pressure. I say that the life is changing and is ever going to be changing, and you are also changing with time, right? So let's not just stick to this target. Okay. You are going to get into this moving target where when you're approaching, things might change. You also accommodate to that change, right? You are being consistent in doing what you're thing, but everything around you might change. Your story can also change. When I say the core will never change, but the way you're presenting, let's say, for example, best example, I used to meet people and I had my own way of standing, talking, smiling, gesture. This is how we used to interact. Now, world has changed. We're meeting people online. We are meeting people via stories or Insta Reels, TikTok, and all that stuff. Now, we are changing, right? We are accommodating to this. But what is the target right now? Target has not changed. It's just moving. It's just taking different shape as per the time. But still the human to human interaction is not going anywhere. So tomorrow, if the alien will also come, probably I'll also just adjust to just, accommodate the way they are liking it. But ultimately my story will be my story. Probably I'll just change few connection points, right? So this is what I tell people, the moving target thing, let's get comfortable with it.
Just get comfortable. It's just a fact of life, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. And then I had a question too. So you talked about like really being authentic is part of that journey to building your trust. And it's like, you need to really strive for doing the 100% of being authentic. And we also just discussed how it's a moving target, even self-discovery. Even I play, I'm in, life goes up and down. I think I'm in a period of life where I'm doing more self-reflection than I have in the past maybe year or so. And so when we find after the fact that maybe we've lost some authenticity, maybe we were focused on impressing instead of expressing, maybe we were testing something out, but then we found it didn't quite fit to who we wanted it to be. What do we do about that? I assume you don't recommend we just sit there and beat ourselves up for losing that 1% and now everyone lost that trust. Is there a way to regain that trust back if we feel in our own selves that maybe there was a little bit of a lapse or we've missed being authentic? What do you recommend in that area?
Okay. I get that point. And this is like, again, a very practical one. We sometime know that, okay, we want to be authentic. This is what I want to be. But sometimes unknowingly, we just drift away from being real. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it is the pressure from the people around us. We just slip into that impression mode. Okay. So that's a very valid point. It happens all the time. And we are not covering those people who are intentionally doing it. They are just doing, not compromising with their authenticity. We are not talking about those people, but those people who want to be authentic, but they're just slipping away in just some distraction or some slip away here and there. So typically in the self-awareness journey, there are 3 things which I tell people. So self-awareness, this is a vast topic. We just touched it on the surface. We haven't talked much about it, but self-awareness is a subject on its own, right? It takes ages to get the clarity. So in self-awareness, I talk about this introspection, all about you. Second is inspection. Inspection is the science, helps you with your psychometric test, your personality test and all that thing, which is a proven fact, right? So you get inspected. Now the third one where I want to bring your focus is intervention. Now, what do I mean by intervention? We take feedback. Because the way we know ourselves and the way science tells us that this is what you are, the picture is not complete yet. The people who are around you, they need to reflect on you and say, you know what, you have been so rude that day. And you're like, what? Because this is a fact. There are certain things in life we know that we know. There are certain things we know that we don't know. And there are few things which we don't know that we don't know,
Yeah.
right? There are blind spots, right? So if these blind spots, we really need these people to intervene. These people will do the intervention. They will reflect on it and they will give you this data, right? That, you have been doing this and I think you are not that genuine, and then you have been talking this way, but generally you never speak that way. You said it very loosely that day. So when this data is coming, I would recommend you to have this intervention take place, get this data, but I gonna warn you as well that don't just go out there and give your ears to everyone. People will just
Yeah.
mess things up. All right, so you need to create a filter that who are these people with whom I'm going to listen. Okay,
Yeah.
who are the people I have given the permission to intervention on my thing. If you give access to everyone, they will just run over all the place and you are messed up. Okay, so I think on surface this is what it is. This is what I have to tell.
Excellent, excellent. And then Heather has another great question is, what's
Mhm.
the difference between being authentic in our messaging and teaching concepts?
Okay, so if I have to say, the teaching concept is the act of making the contribution. Okay, so this is where you have got something and you're telling people. Okay, now let's say if I'm here, I'm just giving an example that where you can see the authenticity and teaching concepts. Basically the connection part and the contribution part is going hand by hand, right? So if I'm here and I'm just because I have this thing to tell about the personal branding, but if you would see what fact I'm telling, that I have been like very low in energy and confidence, and I have been this and that. I'm just not making it up, right? You heard my story of when I just froze in front of my people, my beloved people, right? They wanted me to speak. So when you get into this mode, people will get connection done. And it's like I'm teaching concepts, but I'm also giving you some authentic data about myself. Okay, so authenticity is going, so connection is established, reestablished, established, reestablished, because I'm keep giving something about me and the authentic self, and then I'm just keep on delivering my concepts as well. Okay, so does it make sense that this is how it goes hand to hand? Another point, if you are not authentic, for example, okay, I'm just making it up, there's no way to express it or explain it to you how it happens, but people just don't feel connection. This is how I can put it. I can't tell you, I haven't gone that this much deep in the human brain, understanding about human brain, but there's no way to explain what happens. But when two human are talking, if it is not authentic, it just somehow don't get that connection established, or people get distracted. And if they are get distracted, probably they will not get in a longer connection with you, or they will forget about you very soon.
Yeah. And then I would add or ask, I guess this is a question on top of it, but I would assume that when we have these authentic messages and these stories, like you weaved your personal story in and out of this presentation, it's very different than if you just came in with the slides and say, this is how you build your personal brand, X, Y, Z, there you go, enjoy, right? It doesn't land as much. It's like cooking food, the teaching concept, it could be like just cooking food, and the authenticity in your messaging is the spice that makes the food come alive. Yeah, the food's edible when it's not spice, but when you actually add the spice in, that's when people have these flavors and really enjoy the process of eating. They're not just eating for survival, they're eating for enjoyment and survival, right? Would you say that's like
Yeah.
the purpose of having this authentic messaging on top of the teaching concepts?
Yeah, this is what it is, right? This is how it goes, because it's like I don't know how many people who understand in technical language. Like I've been techie for all my life, so I'm an engineer. So I use a lot of data, this thing, and the moment I get some client who understand technology, I just like, okay, let's do the engineer stuff, right? So we are still dealing with emotions, but in a very technical way. So if I have to tell it this way, connection. Let's say if we are not connected via this internet, doesn't matter how beautiful the message I have, how many teaching concepts I am carrying here, the knowledge, wisdom, everything, forget about it, because there's no internet connection, right? It's not
Yeah.
reaching you, no part of it, right? So this is what happens with, if there is no authenticity, the connection is like very shaky. And if it is too fake, people just disconnect it. And then once it is disconnected, I'm just talking on my head, about the magic words that, I'm going to change the world. Doesn't matter. Nobody's listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have been reading some of the messages, and I just, I was just itching to just respond to them, right? And one of them, I just saw that, Jim has said that, there's not even the human brain can tell about that explanation, that why just the connection then doesn't happen, right? Wow. So I don't know, but then probably, Jim, I would get you in a conversation talking about this human brain stuff. Okay. And as I told you, my purpose, or this is my passion project. I want to make it so easy and simple so that everybody can talk about it. You don't need to be a psychologist or a very deep person who understand everything. Right. So I don't know what shape it will come, but it will come for sure. And Jim will be there for sure.
That is awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, SanJay. Is there anything else you want to add before we close up? I know we're over time, but we appreciate so much this conversation. It was really, really insightful for myself as well.
Probably I just want to share one short story, because this is just stick in my mind, because before coming to the session, I was just going through in LinkedIn, and this is related to our personal branding stuff as well. So I just want to make people this to be aware of such thing. Now, this person, he left his house. He kind of became a monk. Okay. He has like 2 grown-up daughters and family and everything. Now he left his house for 10 years. Okay. But till 2030, he won't be coming back to his family. And why he's on the road? Because he wants to spread the message that, think about the climate. He's going to survive just on solar energy. Okay. So he's in the caravan, he's surviving in everything. He's away from family. He's going cities to cities and meeting people, spreading the knowledge that, be considerate of environment. The climate change is real. So when he's doing that, he shared that one moment when his caravan he was closest to his city. So his family came to meet him. Okay. He was on this orange dress, the like monk-like dress, and family having good time with his daughter and everything. One of the comment came, and the lady said that, it's your personal thing. Why you're bringing it on the LinkedIn? Probably it is good for Facebook. Okay. Now this happens all the time. Okay. What I responded to that lady, normally I just don't respond, but I was just so connected that this person is doing such a great thing. And this, full respect to this lady as well. She's coming from a thought of school, right? That, okay, this is not for personal thing. So here's a message for all of you people who are going to bring your personal brand. Okay. If my message, and this is what I tell to this lady as well, that let's say if I'm the monk and I'm working on this exploration, that how one can be just themselves and without any further noise, right? So all my work is every day to tune into my feelings, emotions, my behaviors, my belongings, my attachments. That means my family, my failures, everything, right? So if I keep sharing about my vulnerability, my failures, my family, everything, this is all personal, right? But at the end, my mission is to help people or inspire people to go deep within and bring that change in the world. So will it fit in professional category or the personal category? That's the question I asked this lady, and I just got so many likes and everyone was like resonating. Yeah, you are right. And all this thing. Now, I just want to share, this is just my perception. You may take it differently, but all the people who want to build this personal brand, I know it is personal. This is you, but there's no such boundary that, the personal or profession, right? If you think it is going to help people, right? If you think that it is going to make a contribution for that purpose, for that audience, just spread the message out there. There are so many filters. I don't want you to keep another filter by thinking what should go where. If you think it is going to make a contribution to the outer world, and whatever it is, if you're comfortable with it, just share. Your story deserves to be told to everyone in this planet. That's all I can say.
That beautiful, beautiful ending point though, SanJay. Really, like, yeah, everyone's story is deserved to be heard on this planet. That is just, love it. Well, thank you so much, SanJay. And thank you everyone who attended, who asked your questions. Anybody who's watching the replay, feel free to ask us questions as well. And I will make sure to send them to SanJay and get his input. And again, remember that he has this course coming up on Saturday if you want to really dive in to your story and creating your story around your brand. So thank you so much, SanJay.
Right.
Really appreciate having you here.
Thank you so very much, Hilary. Those were wonderful questions. And the way you get into it, it was actually looking like you are having one-on-one conversation. And I'm just trying to get to, help you with that. So it was wonderful. And I telling you that I really respect and value those questions which has been coming. While I was just talking, I was kind of itching to just go and read them all. Trust me, I'm going to read them all. Okay. I want to respond to each one of you as the time will allow. But thank you so much for being here, for listening. I have read a lot of good things coming in the comment section. It is really appreciable. That makes it a very fun place. Okay.
Yes.
It's not a performance. I'm on the stage or Hilary on the stage and just talking and showing off. It's a conversation. We all are a part of it. So thank you so much for making it a great one.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, evening, wherever you are in the world.